Nice to meet you all. From today, I'll be working here. My name is George. Looking forward to working with all of you. For various reasons, I ended up changing jobs at the age of 45. The reason is my leg. I was caught up in an accident which has made it difficult for me to walk. In my previous job, I was very active in field sales, but with this leg, there's no way I can do that anymore. When I decided to change jobs, my boss said, "I'll check with the higher-ups to see if there's a job you can do," trying to be considerate. However, at that company where field work was the main focus, there probably wasn't a job I could handle. I didn't want to burden the company, so I decided to move on. My name is George. When I was 30, I married my college sweetheart, but we got divorced 3 years later. The reason was that I was too focused on my work and neglected our family. When my wife broached the subject of divorce, I was so shocked that I couldn't eat for a while. It took some time, but I've completely recovered now and am feeling positive again. Since the divorce, I haven't had a girlfriend. Not just because I'm not exactly a ladies' man, but also because I just don't feel like being in a relationship. So, after all that, I switched jobs at the age of 45. Now, because of the accident, I can't walk well. I can walk on my own, but I can't move quickly, so physically demanding jobs are difficult. That's why I shifted to this company, where desk work is the primary focus. By the way, I'm not very good with computers. The fact that I got hired here is nothing short of a miracle. My mentor in the company is Emily. She is 33 and a team leader, younger than me. She's renowned for her beauty in the office, and she's also very efficient at her work. But she's quite reserved, and I didn't know how to interact with her. Moreover, it seemed like she didn't really like me. Looking forward to working with you from today. All right. Even when I greeted her with a smile, she quickly handed me some documents and said, "Please get started on this." I've never been a quick learner, and I tended to make the same mistakes repeatedly. Whenever I messed up, Emily would say, without looking up from her screen, "Please try not to create more work for others." I'm sorry. Even when I apologized, Emily wouldn't respond. There were colleagues who seemed to enjoy watching me get scolded. One of them was Mike. Mike is the same age as Emily, and they joined the company at the same time. Rumor has it that Mike has a crush on Emily. He's a good-looking guy with a refreshing demeanor. He's not as fast as Emily, but he's one of the top performers in the company. But to be blunt, Mike is kind of a jerk. He's nice to the attractive employees but cold to others. I once overheard him rank female employees, saying things like, "I don't talk to women below a grade A." Since I was having a hard time picking up on the work, he'd mock me saying, "Maybe that's why our wife left you, George." Being new to the company, I couldn't outright deny it and could only manage a wry smile. Some time later, my welcome party was held at the company. That day, I got to chat with colleagues I hadn't talked to before and had a great time. As the party was winding down, one of the colleagues suggested, "We should all go skiing or something next time." Immediately, that colleague glanced at my leg and awkwardly suggested an alternative. "Actually, forget skiing. How about a food tour instead?" While others agreed saying, "Sounds good," I felt guilty for making everyone consider my condition. But then, Mike chimed in. "You know, I actually have these special skiing invitations. I have enough for everyone. How about we all go?" The other co-workers replied, but, looking at me with an uncomfortable expression, "Just go on without me. I'm not as young as the rest of you. Have a good time with the younger folks." Suddenly, Mike burst out laughing. "What are you talking about? I never intended to invite you, George, in the first place. You'd just slow us down." It was clear Mike was heavily drunk, acting much worse than usual. Another co-worker defended me, saying, "That's a bit too much, don't you think?" But Mike didn't care. Getting even more drunk, he mocked, "Being single at 45, things must be tough for you, huh?" Then, placing his hand on Emily's shoulder, he said, "Poor Emily, maybe I should be the one training you." As I was pondering how to respond, Emily, who was nearby, rebuked. "Stop making baseless comments. I'm George's mentor here. And Mike, you've had too much. Maybe cool down in the restroom or something." Seeing Emily's calm demeanor, the room went silent. Mike was probably at a loss for words. On our way home, I thanked Emily. "Thank you for earlier." "No problem." She simply replied and said nothing more. During those days, I heard a rumor. Apparently, Emily had turned down Mike's advances. In fact, Mike had previously spoken well of Emily, but suddenly he began bad-mouthing her behind her back. She thinks she's all that just because she's pretty. I've heard she's leading multiple guys on. Women like her get too engrossed in their work and miss their chance to settle down. And so on, with Mike continuously putting down Emily. Other co-workers would remark, "Man, he's such a small-minded guy," but Mike was oblivious to it all. A while later, Emily was handed a major business deal. She worked overtime daily, meticulously preparing the documents. I could see the fatigue in her eyes, and I'm sure she continued working even at home. Then, the night before the deal, as I was working late, I noticed Mike acting suspiciously near Emily's desk. "What's he up to?" When I approached him, he snapped, "What do you want?" Curious, I inquired about his actions, to which he replied with a smirk, "None of your business," and walked away. I had a bad feeling about this, and my suspicions were confirmed. Emily failed the business deal. Instead of the required documents, she ended up distributing unrelated papers to the client. Upon returning to the office, Emily was severely reprimanded by the boss. "What were you thinking? I'm truly sorry, but I had checked the contents of the envelope the day before, and everything was in order. The cover was the same, but the inside documents were switched. I was shocked. I thought maybe someone mistakenly placed it on my desk. Who would do such a thing? Who would create a document just to switch the inside? Think of a better excuse." Emily was visibly shaken and red-faced. It seems that during the business meeting, the client said it was unacceptable and was very upset. Could it be? Recalling Mike's actions the previous night, it hit me. He did something to her documents. He set Emily up, I'm sure of it. When I glanced over at Mike, he was enjoying watching Emily being scolded with a smirk. I knew it. I was sure. During the lunch break, I approached Mike. "Can we talk for a sec?" "What do you want, old man?" I straight up asked him. "Did you switch Emily's documents?" Without hiding anything, he replied, "Yeah, so, I kinda want to give that woman a taste of her own medicine." What are you thinking? Sabotaging her work just because you got rejected is messed up, right? Emily worked so hard for that day. Tell your boss the truth now. Shut up. Stay out of this, old man. With that, he bumped into me on purpose, and Mike walked away. That guy, I knew it. Realizing Mike was the culprit, I couldn't stay silent. I immediately told the truth to my boss. But the boss didn't even consider it. It was hard to believe that Mike, who was competent and had been with the company for many years, would set up a colleague. I wish I had recorded what Mike said that day. Emily looked so down. She had worked so hard every day, and it was unforgivable for her to be treated so terribly. I wanted to protect her by revealing the truth somehow. I was getting frustrated as I couldn't figure out how. One day, I overheard a colleague saying, Emily might be transferred to the regional branch. I heard the directors talking about it earlier. It seemed Emily also heard about this. She murmured in a low voice, "It's over for me. Maybe I should just accept the transfer quietly. I made the representative of AB Trading Company so angry. It can't be helped." I was surprised to hear that. "You just mentioned AB Trading Company." "Yes, you know it, right? It's a big company." "Emily, don't give up yet. We can definitely do something about this. Will you trust me with this?" "Huh?" Emily made a shocked expression at those words. Soon after, I made a call to a person. "Hello, long time no see. It's George. Sorry for calling suddenly, CEO Johnson. The company that Emily failed in the big deal was my former employer. I was surprised to hear the company name from her. I never mentioned my previous job, and I hadn't told anyone the company's name. I was so close to the CEO of my previous company, Mr. Johnson, that we occasionally went out for drinks. CEO Johnson is a young company CEO who is 3 years younger than me, and he is quite strict about his work. But he's a person who appreciates the hard work of his subordinates, and I respect him a lot. Even if you don't get results, the process of your efforts is important, he always said. I didn't have any talent, but my only strength was my effort, and fortunately, CEO Johnson always appreciated me. In fact, there is a connection between me and the CEO. He has a young son, and I once saved him from a traffic accident. On my way to work one day, I saw a boy trying to cross the road in front of me, and a truck was coming towards him. However, the boy does not notice this and continues walking. "Watch out!" With that shout, I pushed the boy out of the danger. The boy was safe, but I ended up with a lingering injury in my leg. The boy I saved turned out to be the son of CEO Johnson. That day, Mr. Johnson had left his work phone at home, and since his son had the day off from school, he was on his way to deliver it to the office when the incident happened. I don't regret saving his son. I decided to leave the company, partly because I couldn't do field sales anymore, but also because I felt my presence would make Mr. Johnson feel guilty and cause him pain, so I chose to distance myself from that company. Before I quit, Mr. Johnson told me, "If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know, I'll do whatever I can to help." I remembered him saying that. After hanging up with Mr. Johnson, I shared the news with my colleague, Emily. "The CEO himself is coming to talk to us." "Thank you. I had no idea that client was where you used to work, George." She was equally surprised. And a few days later, CEO Johnson visited our office. Seeing me, he offered a smile. And I was also included in the meeting. "I'm really sorry for all the trouble," Emily apologized. In response to Emily's apologies, CEO Johnson calmly says, "Don't forget to check everything in advance. This is good manners as a member of society." "Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm deeply sorry." As Emily continued to apologize, Mr. Johnson's expression softened. "I've heard about you from George. You've prepared quite extensively for this project's negotiations. I'm eager to see the ideas you've come up with." "Yes, of course." After that, Emily presented the materials and started explaining to Mr. Johnson. And guess what? The deal was a success. Great project. It must have taken a lot of effort to research and compile this. We'd definitely like to collaborate with your company on this. "Thank you so much." Emily was on the brink of tears with joy. Beforehand, our boss had told CEO Johnson about a colleague's harassment regarding this matter. Mr. Johnson had failed to investigate and just took his employee's word for it. Higher-ups were reprimanded for their behavior. Soon after, that colleague, Mike, was confronted and confessed his intentions to discredit Emily. He ended up getting demoted. On the other hand, Emily led the project to success, was recognized for her achievements, and got promoted from team leader to department head. I was genuinely happy for her, seeing her hard work pay off. One day, Emily approached me. "Thank you so much for everything, and I'm sorry for sometimes being presumptuous despite being younger." I responded to the apologetic Emily. "Don't worry about it, it never bothered me." Then Emily said, "If you don't dislike me, I'd like to treat you to a meal sometime, as a way of saying thanks." Surprised by the invitation, I blurted out, "Really? Are you sure?" Emily smiles and says, "Yes." It was the first time I saw her genuinely smile, and it gave me butterflies. Gradually, I got more used to the job and was trusted with significant tasks. I started going out with Emily for drinks occasionally, and we gradually deepened our friendship. I don't know what the future holds, but life is short. Hoping for more good times ahead. I continue to work diligently, facing my computer every day.